All right. If I may, Zarmair, why don't you come up here? Have a nice seat in the chair. Yes, you may clap. You sit here. Don't trip. It's fine.
I'm just checking.
What do you got in the bed?
Speak into the mic.
Your speech?
Yeah. You're going to speech? No, you're not going to see that.
You know, I said it's very hard to make fun of Zarmair. I mean, I really respect him, and there's not a lot of people I respect. He has been devoted to the church and everything. He was very devoted, and we pause to remember his lovely wife, Sonia, because she kept his ass in line. Oh, I said that. He came, the one thing that amazes me about Zarmair, he came to America from Egypt in 1962. And when you hear him speak, he always starts, his accent hasn't changed. 48 years, you haven't changed your accent. And he always goes to me, Kenny, you know. And I say to him, Zarmair, if I know, why are you bothering me? How you doing?
Good.
All right. All right, so our first person is going to speak to is Anthony Kasparian. Anthony, come on up here. Come on up. Don't clap, he hasn't done anything yet. Those of you who don't know Anthony, he's like really smart. He's but I don't know, I never heard of this degree before. He's got a PhD in geography. I don't know if that means you can tell directions. But you know how you can tell how smart he is? Because he's very boring. You are. All right, so here he is, Anthony Kasparian.
Thank you, Kenny. I didn't realize that I was also going to be roasted, but I guess everyone is fair game here. Since you invoked Trish, I'm going to follow suit and say I'm delighted to have my lovely wife Mado here with me, who frankly hasn't been out in public much since getting knee replacement in February. But this was not a tough sell, and sometimes it is a tough sell. I have to say, over our 20-year relationship, I've learned how to deal with rejection. I've learned how to deal with no. Hey, Mado, there's a great burger joint. Let's go. No. Hey, let's go visit that person. He's right around the corner from where we're driving. No. No, no, no. After a while, I realized that part of my life is to work to convert no's into maybes. Now, why do I say all of this? Because today we have the good fortune of roasting someone who is one of the most famous contrarians in our community. Zarmair loves to tell you what you can't do, what you cannot do. You say yes, he says no. You say black, he says white. You say Ramgavad, he says Tashnag. You say diocese, he says prelacy. And on it goes. You know, in Armenian we would say Hamar or Inad, not Armenian, or Tersuchungasire. He's truly a contrarian. And I have seen this in many different occasions. Certainly in our church life, Zarmair has had many occasions to display this in abundance. And I'm going to give you a few examples. For those of you who remember, we have our annual bazaar or food festival in November. We used to call it a bazaar. And downstairs we would have food and souvenirs and gifts and kind of a flea market. And upstairs there would be games for the kids. And I remember looking forward to it. They would have pinball machines, and they would have contests like pie eating contests, and they would have a Wheel of Fortune. So I must have been 9 or 10 years old. And I remember walking in, it was a lazy Sunday, the bazaar hadn't really picked up yet. And Zarmair was manning the Wheel of Fortune. And he had one customer, this little kid, 6-year-old kid. And, at first I thought Zarmair's contrarian nature is just the way he is, it's just in his DNA. But then I realized the guy actually enjoys being contrarian. He has a cruel sense of humor. So this little kid is putting a nickel down on the Wheel of Fortune, and his number doesn't come up. So, I'm 10 years old, but I know something of the world. I figure you say, nice try, kid, or better luck next time. Zarmair, you lose. So the kid puts another nickel down, same thing. You lose. And I can tell he's enjoying it. He's enjoying telling the kid he lost. So after about 5 go-arounds, this kid is on the verge of tears. Okay. But finally, and I'm rooting for him, I'm watching from a distance, his number comes up. He's like, I won! So I'm waiting. Zarmair, you lose. So I'm like, the kid starts bawling. What does Zarmair do? Of course, he holds it in for 5 seconds and he bursts out laughing and he gives the kid a teddy bear. That's Zarmair, enjoying messing with you. But I think the most visible way Zarmair messes with us is at our annual Saint Svartanans church meeting. Those of you who've had the good fortune to attend these meetings know that it is almost like a debating society. And I think it was more so 20, 30 years ago when you had the likes of Bob Darien, Vahe Amirian, Shant Haratunyan, and others who loved to duke it out on the floor. But we still have some of that atmosphere now. Zarmair is unofficially, in a way, the guardian of our rules of order. And you will often find him at our meetings calling, point of order, you can't do that. Or point of order, that's out of order. And fortunately, there is someone who usually is able to back him off a bit, and that is the other honoree here, Richard, who also loves to get the last word in any argument, and who also knows the prelacy bylaws backward and forward. So I remember, now this is, thank you, Kenny, there's still hope for me. So this is now going back maybe 25 years. I remember one of our church annual meetings, Zarmair locked horns with Shant Haratunyan. Now those of you who know Shant know he was the original Philadelphia lawyer, actually hailed from Philadelphia. He was an intellect, but he also liked to bully people. He liked to beat you down into submission. So Zarmair got into a bylaws debate with Shant Haratunyan. Shant was trying to bulldoze some issue through. And Zarmair stopped him. He said, point of order. And Zarmair knows how to use point of order. He also abuses point of order. Sometimes when his point of order is ruled out of order, he'll come back and ask a question. It'll be the same point of order, but he'll say, can I? Okay, and he frames it as a question and then gets sat down again. So in this case, he's going back and forth with Shant Haratunyan. And Shant says something, we got to do this. And Zarmair gets up and says, sorry, that's out of order. The bylaws don't permit it. And Shant's like, what do you mean the bylaws don't permit it? So then it goes back and forth. Ayo voj. Finally, Shant gets up and says, I don't care what you think is in the bylaws. So Zarmair, of course, takes that as a challenge. So what does he do? He reaches into his bag and he pulls out the bylaws. And he reads it and he says, see, the bylaws say you can't do this. And Shant says, I don't care. The bylaws should say that. So finally, Zarmair just shook his head. He knew he wasn't going to get the last word and he sat down. So this is just another example of both the funniness, but also really the doggedness that Zarmair has displayed in our community life, his persistence. My last vignette, it's a very short one, is that Zarmair also has a reputation for being a bit of a critic. Sometimes a film critic, sometimes a music critic, sometimes just a plain critic. And invariably, he will not trash too many events. But he will usually go like Larry David. He'll go, no! he'll say, it was okay event, but this was wrong, and that was wrong, and this was wrong, and he'd create a checklist of all the things that were wrong. So last year, after our first celebrity roast, the first guy I went to was Zarmair. And I said, Zarmair, how did we do? He was grinning ear to ear. I said, what's the matter? Nothing happened wrong? No mistake? He goes, nothing wrong. It was a great event. I said, now we got him. So he won't refuse us for this event. And sure enough, he didn't refuse us. So thank you for letting us roast you, Zarmair.
No smoking, huh?
I'm not smoking. Zarmair pointed out that I dropped my notes. You don't realize I'm a history teacher. I make it all up anyway. Doesn't matter. Kids don't know. What are you going to say? B, would you please come up and join us? It's so nice of them to put the thing right here so that everybody has to hurdle it and it plays right in my ear. So, wait a second. Can I introduce you? So, I love B.
Yeah, but watch, it's coming. Go ahead.
It's not coming. I love B. Because she represents old school Armenian moms. I mean, she was thrilled. She's got nice children. But she was thrilled when they went from the wooden burma sticks to the lucite ones, so that when she hit them on the body, it had less drag, so she could hit them harder.
Not true.
See, we had this at the meeting. When I say something, you don't dispute me.
You look bad.
How can anybody make you look bad?
They're trying. Ask him over there. He knows too.
Don't worry, you forgot.
Okay.
All right, here she is, Primo Session.
Thank you, Kenny. Now, I'm not as adverse as Antony in speaking up the top, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm going to look at my notes. Hello? So, when the committee first approached me to roast Zarmair, my initial reaction was, what the heck could I say about Zarmair that would be funny? To the community at large, he always seemed straight-laced, no nonsense, and a bit controversial. But then I started thinking, wait, maybe it's time the community sees Zarmair for who he really is. A stubborn, anal, but generous man. Let's start with generous. I heard through the grapevine, Zarmair, that you offered to pay people to come to this event this afternoon, just so that you could boast that today's event had more attendees than the 65th anniversary coming up. Again, I want to stress that Zarmair is very generous and has donated thousands of dollars to the church, to the endowment fund, and other needy organizations. You might not know this, but once he even donated money to a scammer, but that's another story. So let's see, where do I begin? Let's start with his name. It's obvious that his parents wanted all their children to have names that began with the letter Z. So they started with Zabel, then Zaben, and Zona with a Z. Then, to their surprise, they realized they were expecting their fourth child. I guess back in Egypt, there was no television or other entertainment. In any case, it was a boy, and his parents looked at each other and said, we will name him Zarmair. Seriously, guys, I don't know another person on this earth that has this name. As a matter of fact, while vacationing in Paradise Island one year, we ran into Sidu Mugardijan, who was sitting as a slot machine. What a surprise that is. We spoke for a while and said our goodbyes. Apparently, after Sidu came back, she called Mario Hanesian and said, hi, how are you? And Mari said, how was Paradise Island? She said it was great. We ran into that man and his wife, the one that has that Darorinak name. Mari knew immediately it was Zarmair. Sonic sometimes would call him Zora. Was she confused too? Or was that perhaps his real name and Zarmair just a nickname? Which one is it?
The other way around.
Really? Okay. On the subject of health and beauty, Zarmair frequently stops by the church office to chat with Susie and bring her one of his freshly baked cakes. When he calls to say he's coming, Susie quickly starts opening up the windows for fresh air because she knows she's going to get dizzy and lightheaded. When she told me this, I asked her, "Why? Are you excited to see Zarmair?" She laughed and said, "No, not really. It's because he douses himself in some heavy aftershave, and I can't take the smell." When I asked her why she just didn't tell him to lighten up, she said, "I'm afraid he won't bring me any more cakes." Do you know that many people travel to the Middle East to get dental work done? It's much cheaper there. Well, one year while visiting relatives in Syria, the Z-Man decided to get his teeth fixed. At that time, Margot Dick was on the board with me, and as we went into the board office that Sunday morning, we see Zarmair is back from vacation, smiling up a storm. We did a double take. "Why do you look so different?" Then we realized something. Something was off with his smile. No, wait, it was his teeth. He looked like he had stolen George Washington's wooden teeth. All I could think of was poor Dr. Ruffy. He was going to have a field day filing those teeth down. On another note, did you know that Zarmair served in the military? He carries his veterans card with him just in case there's a discount offered for veterans. He's also a big believer in senior citizen discounts. That's usually his first question after a veterans discount. This being the case, I prepared a list of various establishments that offer senior citizen discounts. Dunkin' Donuts 10%, Walgreens 20%, TJ Maxx on Mondays only 10%, Applebee's. In any event, this is the entire list. I will give that to you later on. On being a gentleman, did you know that Zarmair loves to help damsels in distress? One year we decided to go on the Armenian Heritage Cruise. Abu and I arrived early, and after we got settled into our cabin, we went out on deck waiting to see for the rest of our party to arrive. As we stood there watching hundreds and hundreds of Armenians board the ship, we finally see a group getting out of a limo. At first we thought, "Oh my God, it's a sheik with his wife and harem." Taking a closer look, we realized it was Zarmair and Sunny, followed by 3 sets of spinster sisters. Because he's such a caring schmuck, he was exhausted by the end of the cruise. For 7 days, he was all over the ship, making sure these lovely lasses didn't fall overboard, get lost, and showed up for meals and activities on time. Oh no, I forgot my horsey.
Yep.
Thank you. Here's another thing you probably don't know about Zarmair. He loves the horses and is a regular at the Meadowlands racetrack on Friday nights. He likes to bet the horses a certain way. It's called the key horse. What this entails is that you pick one horse who you have no doubt will come in first, usually the best one with the best odds. Then you select another 2 or 3 horses to come in any other order. So you might ask, does this strategy work for him? Is he a winner? The answer is absolutely not. 9 times out of 10, he has picked the wrong key horse. His selected horses might all come in, but without the key horse coming in first, he loses his $12 wager. His favorite saying then is, "Ein esher noret shayatzav." One thing Zarmair loves also is free giveaways. We were at Monmouth Race. You see a pattern here? Meadowlands Race, Monmouth. For a certain carnival, there were free rides, tasting booths, and complimentary giveaways. Baseball caps, frisbees, stress balls, and light sticks. Every so often, he'd say, "I'll be right back." After the 4th time, I finally said to him, "Do you have prostate issues? Where are you going every 30 minutes? He responded, "Well, they're giving away free stuff, and I figured if I get enough of it, I could rent a booth at next year's bazaar and sell this crap." Though he served in the U.S. Armed Forces, at the racetrack, he disappears after the 7th race. As the trumpeter plays "God Bless America," while everyone is standing up and singing along with Kate Smith, Zarmair is down on the track, flexing his arm for a free car giveaway. The goal is to throw this little brown horse into the car driving around the track to be included into a drawing. Of course, the top upside is not getting the horse seat into the car window. If you don't, you win a free ice cream cone. Yep, you guessed it. Most times Zarmair comes strolling back to his seat, licking the ice cream cone with that goofy smile of his. As I rounded up, Pauline couldn't be here today. She was supposed to be one of the other roasters. Thank you, Antranik, for stepping in. She wanted to talk about how committed he is to doing things by the book, but Antranik already took care of that, so let's move on. She said he believes in technology and purchases all the latest equipment. Unfortunately, he can never figure out how to use them. So he reaches out to his kids and grandkids to help and explain. One day he was trying to find something online, and Pauline said, just copy and paste it into your browser. Need I say more? He didn't know where the browser was. He doesn't know how to send a text or receive one. Last one, while vacationing in Aruba with the Masoyans, they were meeting for breakfast on a Sunday morning. Zarmair shows up in his bathing suit and a tie. And when Mej Masoyan says, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm ready for church. Finishing up, I have a gift for Zarmair. It's a month's supply of cake mixes from Aldi's, his favorite store. If you're lucky, you have been a recipient of one of these cakes. He is very proud of his baking skills. And I lost my last page. Hold on. Not good, not good, not good. Oh well.
I can give you some of mine.
No. He also makes chorek, and they always come out sweet and fluffy.
Yes.
But strangely enough, a month ago he called to say his yeast wasn't rising. What am I doing wrong? So I told him to add some sugar, but what I really wanted to say is, what else can't you get to rise? And then I stopped myself. I didn't let Abba see this before I talk, so he doesn't know what I was saying. Here's your yeast. And here's the month's supply.
The rest of you guys are in trouble. Put the yeast away. We don't want anything rising now. I make myself live. I don't care. Armin, come here. What are you talking for? He hasn't been in here. So, Armin, before you go, I got a question for you. Sure. Are both your sisters here? Where are they? Who's Armin's daughter? Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. That's just to prove that Zarmair does have children. Because he never comes around, he never talks about his children. In fact, Armin's here, and the truth of the matter is, Armin was a nice wrestler for Fairlawn High School, and as I said to him the other night, I probably saw him wrestle more times than his father did, because his father was always here at the church. So here he is, and you know what you were worried about? Could you say that one word? I don't think it's a problem now. She already cut the pin there. Armin's in trouble.
Thanks, Steve, for opening up the floodgates. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. My name is Armin Setrakian. This is my dad here, Zarmair. My two sisters are here as well, Ani and Alice.
I already said that.
I know, but you know, give me a break, all right? Shush. Drink your bottle of what you got.
Give me the costume. Thank you.
Have your beer, smoke a cigar, enjoy yourself. So, my sisters and I have debated who is the favorite. And of course you can guess who it was, right? None of us. St. Baptist Church is his favorite, by far, because this is where we spent most of our childhood, waiting for him to finish every meeting on every committee that ever existed in the world. So when he came to the U.S. in 1962, his neighbor was a choir master at St. Saki's Church in Bayside, and he used to take him to choir practice. Now, I'm not going to get into what might have happened at choir practice, but from then on, he was always in church, either as a board of trustees, AYF, or Hamaskain for 60 years. And that's a long time. That's a great job. 60 years. Keep practicing because you still can't sing. So, B had mentioned he's technologically challenged. Well, I can definitely agree with that, B. He does a good job updating to the newest computer, but he has a hard time with the simplest thing, like he has to write down Control-Alt-Delete to remember how to log into the computer. He's living proof that user error is a real thing. If you ask him, just press any key, he gets confused and he says, what are you talking about? There is no any key. I can't find it. He's like, where is that? He's like an archaeologist when it comes to finding his computer files. It's like, Dad, where did you save it? He says, I don't know, I hit save. Now printing, that's a whole nother issue. He says, why can't I print? I hit the print button, but it gives me a message, can't find printer. The printer's right here. So I take the printer and I move it right in front of the computer, and it still can't find it. We got him upgraded to an iPhone, which has been helpful, and we've been sending him texts, but when he doesn't answer them, we have to call him and tell him where to look, which defeats the reason we're sending him the text in the first place. We were able to teach him how to answer a FaceTime call, though, and that works pretty well, keeping in touch, especially when he needs help on the computer. So he can show us what the screen says, but pretty simple. But unfortunately, what we end up seeing is a lot of the inside of his ear, because he answers it, he's saying, and then, instead of telling him how to fix the computer, we suggest maybe a Q-tip to clean out his dirty ears. He's never had any trouble sleeping. I'm actually surprised he's not sleeping right now. He could fall asleep anywhere, anytime. He could sleep through an earthquake and mistake it from a massage. And he has an amazing knack for watching TV for hours with his eyes closed. And he can turn any surface into a nap space. Couch, a kitchen chair, and even, don't try this, his car. Now, I know the DMV line can be a pretty boring place, but falling asleep in line and causing a 5-car accident really spices things up. And that's not the first time, or the only time he fell asleep. He was coming back from Canada once. He's on Route 87, and he fell asleep, and he drove off of the overpass and landed on the roadway below. Thankfully, for my sake and my sisters and all our children, he survived. He was woken up from his nap by police officers who handed him a ticket. Apparently his teeth were scattered all over the roadway. I'm just kidding. The cop actually gave him a ticket for unlawful changing of lanes. Apparently you're not allowed to fly off one roadway and land on another. And I'm sure with all his teeth missing, he was arguing with the cop that he had his signal on when he did that. Now, on the subject of tickets, he loves church so much, he could not wait to get here. He'd come home, he'd eat dinner, and then off he went. One evening on his way here, he was pulled over on Route 80, not for sleeping, thankfully, but for speeding. And the cop gave him a ticket, and he told him to slow down. And that's just what he did not do. He continued on his way, and he got another ticket on Broad Avenue. And knowing him, he probably got here faster than anybody would have anyway, because he drives like a maniac. I once tried racing him from here to Creekjohns without him even knowing I was racing him, and I pull up, I'm like, I got him, and he's parked out front, walking in. Like, how did he get here so fast? What'd I do wrong? He once had the speedometer on the car pinned below 120 miles an hour. Now, I'm pretty sure Child Services would think that was a little bit unsafe. Now, still on the topic of cars, when we would leave church, which we were here, every week for hours and hours, thank you, he used to take us down this hill in Palisades Park. And it's a steep hill, and then it would flatten out, and then it would be another steep part. And when he got to that flat part, he'd hit the gas, and when you go over the edge, it felt like the sensation of like you were on like a roller coaster. And we would ask him to take us there often, and he would, but then, we stopped asking him, and he would still take us. And I wonder, like, why does he always want to go on this road? Like, he must really like it. And I kind of figured out that he likes the sensation of his balls rising up to the middle of his chest. So he would just constantly just do this. And, to be honest with you, I kind of like it too. Anyone else here? Good. I'm heading that way after the roast. If you want to ride, let me know. I promise I will not fall asleep. So, Dad's hairline has not changed since the 1970s. Thank goodness that skipped my generation. I don't know about my kids. Good luck, Caden and Connor. I hope it passes you too. But every picture is the same. It's just gotten grayer over the years. One plus is he saves a lot on shampoo. But it continues to take him longer and longer to wash his face. It's a very unique hairline. But we have seen it before. When his youngest granddaughter was 2 years old, she loved to watch The Wizard of Oz. Hi. And she would get very excited, and she would point at the screen, and she would say, anytime the mayor of Munchkinland made his appearance, she would yell, "Dad, Dad, Dad, Dad!" So, I don't know if any of you know or can remember the mayor of Munchkinland, because it's been a while. So I printed some photos. I'm going to hand to each of these front tables, and you can pass it back just so you can get a sense of the resemblance. He's loving this. All right, so like the mayor of Munchkinland, he is not the tallest man. There's a saying that God only lets things grow until they're perfect. Some of us didn't take as long as others, obviously. His favorite view is from the front row of group photos, where he can feel tall. He's a great travel companion. He's a walking armrest for me. Just lean on him, and he's right there. I think that's why he loves going to the Meadowlands, which, B, you were right on target there. He secretly wanted to become a jockey, I think. He's got the right height for it, and when he's at the track and his horse is near the front, he slaps his ass and he yells, "Yalla shukuluk." Which, that saying was very confusing for me and my sisters, because that's what he called us. He also called his niece and nephews, all our spouses, all our children. We all got that same name. And when his horse didn't win, which usually is the case, he would yell, "Vai shushanoti." But don't give up on your dream, okay? We can probably convert the garage into a stable, and you can practice. And one day, you will get that bouquet of flowers in the winner's circle. Just do me one favor when you get there. Don't sing. Thank you.
My wife's going, don't have another drink. She's driving. My students like when I grade and have a cigar and drink at the same time. The grades are high.
I can't hear you when you do this.
Excuse me?
Speak into the mic and it'll be funnier. People will laugh.
Okay, I'm speaking into the mic. Maybe I didn't want you to hear. I was talking about my drinking problem. Thank you for embarrassing me. Oh my God. And you live in the district where I teach. I'm in trouble. When the earthquake hit, a teacher, the rooms are shaking, everything's shaking. One teacher comes up to see if I was all right. I said, "Why'd you come up to check?" She goes, "We just thought you fell." having a good time. I don't care. All right. Now it's your turn, Mr. Zarmair. Without further ado, one of our honorees, Mr. Zarmair Setrakian.
Don't be alarmed. It's not too much. It's only
Speak into the mic, Rob.
each page would take about maybe 2 minutes. So I would say about an hour and a half. Okay. Now let me see where I start. Did I get all the pages? What happened to the other page? Did you take it?
I didn't take anything.
Oh my God. Ah, there it is. Ah, that's the most important one. Well, after what I heard, I think tomorrow morning I will visit the lawyer who did my will. And I will see if I can change Armin's ranking from second to 20 or more. Առաջին հերթին կպապակիմ շնորհակալություններս հայտնել բոլորին անխտիր։ Ուրախ եմ, որ մեր մեջ կգտնվի իմ առաջին ծանոթներս Սիրանուշ Կոպոյանը։ Please stand up, please. That's 64 years. It's a long time. Փոքրագույն թորնիկս, Connor, stand up. And ամենամեծ թորնիկս եւ ձորս, Andrew and Lucas. Thank you. In French, they call it fermeture. In English, they call it zipper. Don't get any funny ideas. I'm not talking about whatever you're thinking. Okay?
I'm just trying to take a nap.
The zipper could be a mouth zipper, okay? And in Armenian, they call it pagatel. When I turned 18, I was told that I have some rights. Now that I reached 81, and the recent visit to the doctor, who informed me that everything is okay. Only your pagatel shows sign of deterioration. So watch out, folks. I want to say a lot of things. I hope you just take it as a joke. Well, անունը Zarmair է։ Մայրս ուրգե կդավ այդ անունը հանելու է։ Ասի առաջին էջն է, դակավին 60 հատ ևս կա։ Այդ երկրորդը։ Լսած էի, որ կային գղերականներ և զինվորականներ, բայց հազվագյուտ, շատ հազվագյուտ էր Zarmair անունը։ Անցյալ ամիս հայրենիք շաբաթաթերթի մեջ Կարտասի Մարուշ Երամյանի հոդվածը, ուր գսե Վարդարանը տասական վեբիմը օրինակն է, բայց նաև լավ թարգմանությունը։ Թարգմանիչը Քահանամը, Zarmair Քահանա Գեզյուրյան։ Սկիզբը զարմանալի կդերեի, որ հայ քահանամը նման գիրքը թարգմանազլա։ Ավելին ուրեմն 1900-ականներու թվականին ունեցած են հայ քահանամը, որ անգլերեն այնքան լավ գիտնար, որ այս գիրքը գեղեցկորեն թարգմանեց։ Ուրեմն, for those who didn't understand it, I just have to give it a little bit something. The Zarmair came in as there's a lot of people, very few people. There are some military people and some clergy. And I just was reading in the Hieronymic, and there was an article that I was glad that I was trying to find out where the hell Zarmair coming from. So there was this priest who had translated the Vartaran, which is a story, and he did it from English. So he did it such a good job that everybody was amazed. 1962-ին քաղտեցի այս ապերը եւ ինչպես որ ասվեցավ Տրացուից Ակաբին Ավասարյանին հետ մաս կազմեցի Բեյսայդի Սուրբ Սարգիս եկեղեցու դպրոց թասին։ Ապա ամերիկյան բանակը ծառայելեց եւ մինչեւ օրս Վարդանանց եկեղեցու մեջ։ Գկասկածիմ, եթե կան անհատներ, որոնց 6 տասնյակ տարիներ է ավելի ամեն գիրագի եկեղեցի այցելած են։ Ինչու կհարադևեմ, որովհետև եկեղեցին աղոթատեղի է եւ աղոթողը հույսով եւ միտքով խաղաղությամբ կմեկնի տուն եւ գիշեմ որ փանաստեղծը please wake up
I understand enough for the Armenian. It's not that funny.
Well, I'm not trying to be funny anyway.
Okay.
Եկեղեցին հայկական բարձր փերն է հավատքին։ Իմ բաբերուս, որ մոդեն, զայն քարար անեցին եւ երկինքեն իջուցին զայն սող արծող ամբարամ եւ փավեցան անոր մեջ հանդարտությամբ եզությամբ եւ շարունակե եկեղեցին հայկական դեպի երկինք բարձրացող քաղտնի ջամփամ ունի եւ ես անոր փնդրդուկի մեջ եմ եւ դուք գնաք միանալ բայց պայման է որ բոլորը տալ եկեղեցի հաջող շնորհակալություն
Excuse me, but can we have a standing ovation for Zarmair and those who recognize him? That was beautiful.